are back to the part 2 ng ating usaping Artificial Intelligence or AI.
Right. Yes, Trisha. And in this digital age, admit it or not, talagang nagiging reliable na tayo sa artificial intelligence.
Right. At saka, sobrang takeaway ko talaga ng first episode. Even the students are still not so comfy in saying that they're using AI. Which is why we have the part 2, right? Because we wanted to know what really defines AI and is it really good or bad for like students' education.
Ako naman tumatak sa akin yung last episode, yung job threat talaga. Diba? Kasi sa mga experiences natin, may mga digital talaga na yung iba tinatanggal sa trabaho kasi feeling nila kaya na to ng AI. Pero it turns out, hindi naman pala.
Hindi pa flawless.
Oo, and AI kapag hindi kinaya, yung mga co-workers, yung mga sumasalo ng mga work.
Correct. So like productivity, hindi yung entire mental load, that's what we wanna decouple in the second episode. Yeah. So, let's get right into it. Kaya naman para mas malaman natin kung ano nga ba itong artificial intelligence, makakasama natin ang fresh na fresh. Fresh na fresh! Kasama natin siya sa off-screen kanina. Sobrang fresh niya. Si Prof. Kenmar Bernardino, chairperson lang naman ng IT Department ng Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Valenzuela. PLV! As a PLVian.
Sobrang freshness
Yes, naman yung tawag sa
As a PLVian, welcome to Schoolmates. Ayan. So, syempre, let's get right into it, Prof. So, Prof. Ken, para saan po ba or kumbaga paano nga ba nabuo itong artificial intelligence at ano nga ba yung initial intent ng pagkakagawa nito?
Si artificial intelligence kasi we've been actually living with it kahit noon pa.
Yeah.
Right.
It just so happened na siguro this generation, they're quite lucky kasi this is the time that artificial intelligence has become quite more accessible. To put it into words. Parang ngayon yung generation na parang it's easier for them to access, it's easier for them to access information. And at the same time, the original intent of artificial intelligence, siguro partiin muna natin siya kasi when we talk about artificial intelligence, especially parang feeling ng mga, especially sa mga kabataan, parang yung concept niya, parang it's clear but at the same time vague. Parang ang lino niya, parang ang labo.
AI.
Yes.
Yeah.
Parang ano siya nung generation natin.
Which generation? Okay.
Parang yung buzzword at that time was cloud computing eh. Parang
okay. I've heard of that,
10 years back, parang cloud computing was the buzzword that time. Nowadays, we're now using cloud computing on a daily basis, like Google Drive and elsewhere.
Like cloud storage, whatever.
Yes, cloud storage. Parang it has become embedded na in our daily lives. And it's also going to be the thing with artificial intelligence, but probably much more faster than before. So artificial intelligence, the original intent was to build information systems that are connected with each other to provide data-driven decisions.
Love
and
that.
these data-driven decisions, what people would use in further applying these decisions, maybe in the workplace, maybe in the academia or in the industry. Kasi one thing I like about this generation is that they are aware of what AI is, and at the same time, they are also aware that it, as of the moment, you can't really consider it bad or good there.
Yeah. Inconclusive talaga yung is it good or bad?
Depending on the context and the industry. But artificial intelligence as a whole, it's the same thing kagaya ng binanggit nila. What you feed with AI, yun lang din yung ilalabas na. If you feed it 0 and 1, it's only going to result to 0 and 1 as well. Not unless you train your AI to provide you much more complex results.
Correct.
And yun. I believe it started before in the 1950s. As early as the 1950s, Alan Turing, mathematician Alan Turing, also the proponent of the Turing test. But if I'm not mistaken, it started with his motive, if machines could think.
Yeah.
So parang ganun it started with that idea. Parang from logical, he wanted it to be much more experimental and practical. So parang put it into practice. There's an interrogator and then merong computer and then merong tao that he's going to ask these questions the same thing. And then, I believe in the interrogator's part, hindi na nakikita if someone is answering na tao siya and then someone is a computer. And it's a test of principles as well. Kasi if the computer is able to answer the same, probably in terms of context ng tao, it could be concluded na in the long run, computers might be able to think like people.
Like independent thinkers na sila.
And there's also an incident in 1997, I wasn't born yet at that time. It was IBM's Deep Blue.
I love that he had to clarify. I wasn't born yet.
Kasi 25 pa lang yan si Sir.
Indirectly. So indirectly natin sinabi. I was born yet. I'm not quite sure kung ano with the date. IBM's Deep Blue defeated world-renowned chess player. Defeated Gary Kasparov in 1997. And that is an AI that is trained to defeat
or like predict the moves of like the chess masters.
Yes, and that's also based from historical data. Parang they're also going to train them how
you think.
I think they had two. Parang Pacquiao fight may rematch.
Okay.
The 1997 match where natalo ni Deep Blue si Gary Kasparov was also a rematch if I'm not mistaken. And then parang earlier that year, the Deep Blue was trained more. Para siguraduhin matatalo niya talaga. And it's the same thing with what we do with people these days. Kaya siya talagang artificial intelligence, you provided input, you provided data, and then it will provide you results or output.
Right. And as time passed by, mas na-enhance siya.
Yes, ngayon we have natural language processing, and now you have prompt. And now there's a new industry. I think earlier this year, yung prompt engineer. Sabi ko, ano yung that's prompt engineering means?
I love it.
Sabi ko, parang what does prompt engineering means? So then parang if you read about it, it's basically people who are going to put your ideas into context.
Yes.
Right.
How do you refine the prompt, essentially?
Kasi ngayon parang ang gagawin na lang natin, ipapasok na lang yung data and then parang gusto mo gawin na agad ni AI.
But based on the outlook that you want, but you don't know how to explain how that output looks like. Diba?
Yes.
So that's what the prompt engineers do.
Speaking of that, Sir, sa tingin niyo po, bakit laging tinatangkilik ngayon yung AI?
Apart from accessibility, because we have to rule that out. You already mentioned it's more accessible. That's why they go to it. But other than that, what's the appeal?
Meron ako nakuha sa mga estudyante ko. Galing din sa kanila to. Mga estudyante ko kay PLV. Ang sabi nila, ngayon lokohan lang nila to. Pero I think mga 3 years ago, sabi niya, alam mo, daig ngayon mabilis gumawa ang magaling. And sabi ko, and I was caught off guard about it. Kasi thinking about it, especially with AI, generative AI as well. Parang, oo nga, no? Parang we live in a culture, parang fast food. You want everything fast. You want everything
Yes.
delivered
Convenient.
fast.
Yes.
So aside from accessibility, AI is really going to provide you
The
output.
speed.
Totoo, lots of information.
Yes.
Yeah.
At hindi lang yung information na now, parang pati yung output, what you want to do with the information, AI could do that.
Right. And also, Sir, yung like makakapag-cut siya ng time na kailangan mong i-spend para magawa yung output na yun. Kasi parang, for example, sa 100% time na kinakailangan mo, makakapag-save ka ng 40% kapag gumamit ka ng AI kasi
Right.
matutulungan ka niya.
And I want to jump off to what you said na parang it cuts the work in half or whatever percentage. Parang ano bang specific features ng AI yung tingin natin na talagang ginagamit ngayon ng mga kabataan?
Ngayon, aside from speed and accessibility, yung refinement.
Refinement.
When I was in college, as an IT, and as an instructor, pag programmer ka talaga, if may napansin kang mali dun sa output mo, definitely you're going to look into the syntax.
Correct. Line by line.
Line by line.
Yes.
So minsan may magulat, ang mali mo lang dun, may quit ka lang, nagkamali
Yes,
ka.
yes.
Or mali ka ng dot.
Mali ka ng dot, mali ka ng quit, or kaya may doble ka ng
Ano
quit.
ba yan? Python ba yan?
For Java,
Yes,
Java
yes.
kami, Java programming. And then, syempre line per line. So parang ikaw, and at that time, what we were using at that particular time, 2014, hindi pa talaga namin ma-identify which line had a problem yet.
Wala pa yung parang may error prompt sa gilid ng number line.
Okay, this is line 134.
Oo.
Ngayon, nung nakita ko rin to sa mga students, it's also good what they did with AI. Na parang ginawa nila. Kasi back when I was in college, talagang isa-isay namin. Ngayon, what they do is, they copy the code, and then they input it to, depende kung ano yung meron sila at that time. Minsan ChatGPT, and then they would ask ChatGPT to determine kung saan line yung may mali. Or what else could I do to further shorten the syntax?
Okay.
And sabi ko, nung nakita ko silang ginagawa yun, sabi ko, I can't really say if it's ethically correct or not.
Okay. Do tell me something about that.
Kasi parang ikaw as a teacher, syempre you want it, parang I'm quite also old enough to say na parang gusto kong paano namin siya ginagawa before.
There's the ego of the generation.
Yes.
Right.
Which also imposes a challenge to teachers these days kasi kailangan mas adaptive ka.
Correct.
So nung nakita ko sila, ang una ko syempre impression ko, Diyos ko katamaran, ba't hindi mo check? Ano ba naman yan? Tinacheck ko sa ChatGPT. Tapos sabi niya, sir, kasi mas mabilis. Kailangan ko niya kasi magde-defense na ako after this group. Sabi ko, okay, yes. So to a certain extent, if we're talking about features as well, yun yung, you can't really say na mali ang ginagawa mo.
Oh.
Yeah.
It outputted the same result.
It's just a different means to
Yes.
get to that optimized result. Yeah.
Pero speaking of that, sir, ano pa yung commonly misconception kapag gumagamit ng AI?
AI are robots. Yun yung parang, especially, nowadays, hindi lang actually ang mga generation natin. We're in the same generation.
Yes.
Totoo naman.
Yung generation natin ang prone to misconceptions about AI. Even the younger generation, they think of AI as
The next robot.
Parang wall-e nga, ganyan ang tingin nila. But when you think of AI, the fact that you could use these AI-assisted tools, may mga chatbots that would reply you answers your questions, that's AI already. One of the misconceptions about AI is that it could think in its own. It could make decisions for you. And also at the same time, AI is always correct. Yan yung lagi kong, parang ngayon, nung panahon namin, galing na yan sa Google. Imposibleng mali na yan.
Yeah.
Parang,
Kung galing sa Wikipedia daw yan.
Yes.
Diba? Yung previous generation.
sa Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Yung tawag namin ng Wikipedia. Sa Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
Pag galing siya sa Wikipedia, tama na yan. Pero ngayon din, ganun din sila with ano. And hey, galing na yan sa ChatGPT, yan yung pinaka-precise na, let's say, parang format or flow.
Reliable source.
Pero AI is not always correct. You still have to refine it and double-check.
Totoo.
Correct. And in terms of like the misconceptions, I just wanted to jump back into what they said about ano yung maituturong pros ng AI when it comes to reliable assistance. Kasi, for example, you said there are tools that makes refinement faster. Diba? Yun yung dalawang essentially buzzword ng AI. You can refine it and you can cut the work half the time that you need it. So, saan areas of life ba natin sobrang nagagamit ang AI ngayon? Other than school. Like, have you actually used it outside of school as an educator?
In the workplace, napakalaking tulong niya. Especially kami, since I am also the chairperson, a lot of the tasks would be administrative.
Or repetitive?
Repetitive.
Sure.
So
Okay.
para talagang, for example, you just need to sort students or have them grouped according to ano. Before we had Excel, it's very easy to sort din naman.
Yes, Excel masters.
Excel now they have Google Sheets.
Yeah.
Pero ngayon, a lot of the tasks that are quite administrative as well could also be done in AI. And even in the workplace, there are also industries, I believe in the HR industry, they're using AI
yes.
as well
Totoo.
for reviewing documents. Although AI is not there to make decisions for the HR, but a lot of the documents checking, especially if it's provided in digitized copies, mas madali. So aside from the academe, even in the industry, they're now being used. How I wish it was also being used in fields like agriculture, environmental conservation.
Right.
Pero time will come when people would not be more afraid of AI.
Right.
Mas magagamit natin siya in developing systems.
Right.
Sa ilalim naman ng bagong lunsad na Yakap Caravan, matitignan na ang kondisyon at ng kalusugan hindi lamang ng mga mag-aaral, kung hindi pati na ang mga guro. Mabibigyan sila ng libreng medical check-up, libreng lab test tulad ng cancer screening at libre na gamot.
Ang may init at maaaksyong balita sa mundo ng sports. mapapanood na araw-araw kasama ang ating teammates. PTV Sports, para sa atletang Pilipino, para sa bagong Pilipinas. Sa PTV.
Parang there's a disparity kasi when we talk about different fields and the use of AI. Like for example, agriculture. Ako nga honestly hindi ko maisip kung paano magagamit yung AI in agri, eh. 'Di ba? So parang if the comment section below can tell us how do you actually use AI in agri, that would definitely be great. But marami kasing backwards thinking or traditional thinking na hindi pa ganun ka-adaptive in terms of how AI can be integrated to them. Like, for example, HR dati, ang sinasabi lang is parang mag-scan lang daw ng resume, di ba? But definitely now, it handles administrative tasks for them. Even pag-create ng dashboards, reports, Power
Outline.
BI, lahat. Yeah. So,
And if I may also add there, kasi nung nakaraan may bagong, it also imposes a challenge in the academe. Kasi dati, in the curriculum of HR, if I'm not mistaken, wala pa yung subject na human resource information systems with data analytics. Ooh. And then, the good thing with us here in PLV, we collaborate with colleges. So, the College of Accountants and Business Administration, they tap the IT department to handle these particular subjects. Kasi nga, sabi niya, mas maganda na talagang people in the discipline to teach them. Sabi ko, naisip ko siya, so ibig sabihin talagang, even industries in business, they would really now integrate IT kasi they want their students na pagdating even in the workplace, hindi lang what is expected of them ang kaya nilang gawin.
Yes.
They could do much more than what is expected of them. And that would involve technological literacy.
Correct. Like, dati kasi nakalagay lang Excel proficiency lang.
Yes.
Ngayon, parang pwede ka nang maglagay na data analytics talaga yung kinuha niya, di ba? No? So yeah, definitely. So, when dito naman tayo pag-usapan yung education, like when it comes to being the academe, whether you're a prof or you're a student, sa tingin nyo, paano makakatulong ang AI sa totality of the education system? Not just as a prof, not just as a student, kung kumbaga yung mentality ng ganun. Pero, paano siya makakatulong sa mga policies, for example, ng education system?
Nakaka-beauty queen yun.
Yes!
Very siya. We're not just thinking about the classroom setup. Talagang it's the educational system na.
Yeah.
For me lang naman, I'm only speaking on behalf of all my experiences in teaching. The problem now with AI is there are still, kagaya na binanggit mo kanina, there are still certain universities that are quite apprehensive with the usage of AI in education. We're quite lucky that coming in PLV, we're very adaptive to it. Kasi especially, it's going to be quite ironic kung nasa IT department ka, pagkatapos you're very
against ka.
So you have to be adaptive to it. And not necessarily just adaptive. You should be able to understand future trends.
Okay, I love that.
It's a good thing in the educational system that the first of all is acceptance. We need to accept the fact that AI is also going to be here. It's going to stay. Maybe after 10 or 20 years. It's going to be going to be lagi nating buzzword na natin after the pandemic, yung new normal.
Okay.
It's going to be the new normal.
Yeah.
Asahan nyo na yan. If I may also share, in the educational system, this is also going to be a crisis in the long run. Probably. I attended a seminar before, parang the group of participants were ang daming age groups eh. Merong 9, may 15, may 22. And then I asked them a question. It's also about AI in the academy.
Okay.
Sabi ko sa kanila, kung ito yung assignment ninyo, paano nyo gagawin yung assignment ninyo? As simple as that.
Yeah.
May sumagot talaga doon as early as 9 years old. Ang sabi niya, ipapasok daw niya yung tanong. It's an equation eh. I'm bad with science, sorry na. Sabi ko, ito yung equation. Kasi ipapasok niya raw niya kay ChatGPT yun. Tapos kung ano yung lumabas, yun yung sagot niya.
Oh my God! Grabe!
Sabi ko, kahit na yun nakalagay doon sa tanong, sa assignment mo is compute for the ganito. Sabi niya, i-double check ko na lang po.
Oh my God!
Yes, may mga ganyan akong mga naturuan na experiences. Kasi, lalo na kapag mga quiz, tapos kapag digital siya, Parang kinuwento sa akin to ng whistleblower sa circle nila.
Whistleblower. May whistleblower sa industry.
Oo, yung
okay.
kasi online yung setup ng namin noon. So yung may isa doon na estudyante na nagsumbong sa akin na yung classmate niya raw is GPT niya raw yung sagot sa quiz. Tapos sabi ko, paano nangyari yun? Na-chat GPT ba yun? Tapos nung ako mismo yung nag-try, lumabas. Meron pang emoticon na green na check. Green check.
God.
Tapos nung pagka-check ko, tama.
So, parang I think in terms of what you're saying, the new challenge for the education system is not just the digital divide, which is kung sino yung kayang mag-adapt agad to that kind of system in terms of public or private schools or institutions, but also yung educational integrity,
Yes.
I guess, no, na parang how do you actually know that the students who are passing in your courses are actually doing it to the best of their ability and not the best of the ability of the AI?
Makaka-apekto ba to sa pagbababa or tataas yung mga creativity and productivity nila kapag may mga challenges sa school?
Like three things siguro, Prof, no? Parang creativity, productivity, and also like cognitive ability talaga. Like kaya ba, mas nagiging matalino ba sila kung may AI? Mas
Or
nagiging creative ba sila at mas nagiging productive ba sila?
Or
kung
nagiging
may-
dependent?
Yeah.
Gusto ko sana sumagot ng concrete na no. Yung no na walang kurap. Pero hindi siya magawa eh. Though, during the pandemic, I also worked as a motion graphics
Yeah,
editor.
okay.
So habang daw kanina, titingnan ko tong yung mga days. In terms of creativity, they are also going to be much more creative. If you're going to use AI to generate ideas for you, kasi let's face it, especially in the creative industry, there are days talagang mawawalan ka ng
Creative juices.
creative juices. So, especially now, they could prompt you ideas and even concepts and even art boards.
Right.
Creativity siguro, it could hone, it could improve, but if in the long run, you're too dependent on it without further research. Kasi talaga naman dapat nire-research mo yung getting art style. This is going to be the art style for next year. Kasi based from historical data, the art styles are just repeating.
Correct.
Creativity-wise, I don't think so. Productivity, yes. Kasi it's going to make them finish task faster.
Yes,
Right.
and mas marami.
Right.
Yung mga title cards, back then talagang mamanumanuin mo siya frame by frame in After Effects. Pero ngayon, you have a lot of AI-assisted tools.
Correct. Meron akong question na. So, in terms of the productivity, creativity, and cognitive ability, we see the potential
Yes.
na it could be good.
Yeah.
So, parang in what ways can we actually safeguard na we have the correct guidelines set on the use of AI? Kasi yung ayaw natin dun is the over-dependency.
Yes.
Diba? Parang how do you, for example, do you have an example of what is being done in PLV to ensure that? And possibly, parang suggest na parang, oy guys, pwede niyong gawin to. Yeah.
A lot of universities are still in the process of, I believe yung iba meron silang ethics review committee, especially for researchers.
Okay, okay.
So talagang meron silang specific percentage na ito lang dapat yung AI-generated content or at least AI-refined. Kasi ngayon parang dati parang 2 years ago, AI-generated content. Ngayon may AI-refined na talaga na term. So ibig sabihin, gawa mo siya, pero ni-refine lang siya ng konting.
Right.
Okay, so
the
there
grammar,
are
the
two,
construction and all.
two labels now, just not just AI generated but AI refined.
Refined.
Okay.
That is textual. Pero ang mahirap kasi sa amin, especially in IT, we have subjects like multimedia, digital game design development. Sabi nga namin, time will come that we will question ourselves kapag yung mga graphics na ginagamit ng mga students natin are AI generated. Is it still considered
As
Their work.
Their work?
Yeah.
Parang sabi nga
Oh
namin,
my God, that's the same question.
Ang
we
hirap
had.
niyan.
Diba?
Pero curious ako kasi thesis namin yan. Sige, sir.
yun yung...
Para may sagot na sa thesis mo. Joke lang.
yung conclusion niya.
Okay.
Especially iba yung point of view ng estudyante sa faculty member. So kami, we have to be adaptive, but to a certain extent, we also have to be disruptive.
Okay. I love that term.
So it's also the same thing with textual content that there's a specific percentage. Kaya sabi nga namin, you can't really count percentage in graphics.
Correct. Like how many pixels were actually
Yes.
refined by AI, right?
Kaya kami what we do, for example, yung mga capstone projects ng mga students namin, I would really ask them in document form. Alin dito yung gawa niyo and then what is AI assisted here? Kasi uso sa kanila yung term na, ay sir, binakat po namin yan. May AI generated imagery. And then,
Ginawa nila.
Gagawin nila
Use as a
i-vectorize
stencil,
nila.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Tapos sabi ko nga, parang, ginagawa na rin naman namin siya before.
Sa libro.
Yes. Kukuha ka ng image na galing mo kayo, nakita mo, kay Pinterest. Ang ganda nito, gawin natin siya dun sa game. Tapos sila, ganun naman, AI generated. Ano sabi ko, tapos i-stencil nila. Kaya sabi ko nga, thinking about it, sabi ko, parang mas nahihirapan lang sila. Instead of just accept the fact that in the long run, these are going to be normal.
Yeah.
Yes.
So parang the apprehension comes whether or not the value of the work still holds if it's AI refined or AI generated. I think medyo tricky yung topic na yun kasi it also puts an equivalent value on the worker.
Yes.
Right.
So parang in terms of the future careers, kasi you mentioned about how the work in the academe, how activities inside the classroom are almost being done by AI in a lot of departments. So that also affects how you train them in the real world, diba? Na parang, is it to be expected na the graduates that you will be producing should be proficient in that kind of tool and that kind of disruptive thinking yung magbabago ng workplace natin. But if we think about the current landscape ng mga nagtatrabaho, yung Federation of Free Workers, there was a statistics that said na about 14% of the total landscape of work in the world is actually at risk by AI. So, in terms of job security, are we actually doing them good when it comes to training them with AI? Or dapat ba ibang form of free thinking yung tinitrain natin sa mga estudyante natin to be better contributors in the workplace? What's your take doon, Prof?
Ang lagi niya sinasabi, upskilling.
Okay, that's our buzzword kanina, like upskilling. But
Sa akin kasi, when you upskill students, you just add, kumbaga parang, an addition to their resume.
Okay.
Na ito kaya nila tong gawin. But, we sometimes forget that they also have to be flexible. Kaya nga, ang lagi namin sinasabi dyan, is as simple as, kapag pinatayan kita ng internet, pag magagawa mo pa yan, very good. Pero kapag hindi mo magawa yan without the internet, as basic as, let's say, make a document. Just make a document.
oh my God, or like
Address
write
yung
an
sabi niya.
essay about something without an internet.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Talagang yun yung mga, and even yung mga write me a cover letter.
Oh my God. Write me a cover letter pero generated by AI.
The AI, and
Okay.
it's also very frustrating on the end of the teachers as well. Kasi, paano kapag, sabi nga namin, kasi they are having their on-the-job training. Sabi namin, paano kapag nagtatrabaho na kayo, your over-dependence in AI
Right.
is really going to kill you in the long run. Kasi, pag napatayan ka ng internet, hindi ka rin makakagawa. You should be able to do it with or without the assistance of AI. That's one. And then, partly, upskilling, kasama pa rin talaga yung upskilling. You should be able to not just be able to do, let's say, especially in multimedia. If you're able to do it in Photoshop, that's good. You're able to do it in Canva, that's good. If you're able to do it in Adobe Spark or
Kumbaga
whatsoever.
versatility in the
Yes.
tools
Yeah.
that you're doing. But then does proficiency mean you can use it in more tools or is it the quality of the output?
It depends. For me, depending on what you're doing.
Okay.
Kasi minsan, for example, yung mga yun, like printed outputs,
Okay.
posters, flyers. Sabi ko nga, if people are going to look at it and they think it's okay, it's readable,
Okay.
Right.
it's okay. But when we talk about proficiency, it's also the techniques. You could be a master of many, but you could be able to make use of different applications, but a master of none. Parang jack of all trades, but a master of none. So, still, you should be able to make use, when you talk about proficiency, you should be able to make use of different tools, but at the same time, you should be at least a master of one or two. Especially
Okay.
today,
Correct.
nakakatakot in the industry.
Specialization na dapat yung ano.
Na isa lang yung alam mo talagang
Gawin.
Correct.
Actually, ang hirap din nun kasi yung iba talagang mga estudyante nagiging dependent na talaga sa mga AIs. Like, kasi, kaya yung ibang mga educators, ang ginagawa nila, kapag nagpapatas sila sa mga bata, sa school gagawin, hindi pinapauwi.
Oh.
Kasi, kapag
Face to
pinauwi
face,
siya,
char.
pag pinauwi siya, di ba, syempre ipapasa nila yan printed na o kaya naman kapag handwritten, syempre AI generated na rin yun.
Ito yung AI is the generation's gawa ng nanay mo.
Yeah.
Right. Oo, hindi na siya. Kumaga, gawa ng AI yan eh. Oo, 'di ba? Kaya ngayon, yung mga teachers ngayon, mas pinipili na nilang gawin yung mga task ng mga bata sa school kasi
para may supervision.
Oo, kasi minsan yung mga teachers hindi nila hinahayaan yung mga estudyante na gumamit ng phone. Tapos minsan naman yung mga schools mahina yung internet. So, wala silang choice kundi mag-rely sa sarili nilang utak para tapusin yung activities na yun.
Right.
Diba? Kasi ang disadvantage ngayon, diba, ayun nga, nagiging dependent ngayon mga bata. Kahit yung mga small things and small tasks, hindi kayang gawin ng mga bata. Kasi nasanay sila na one click lang yan, ipaprompt ko lang sa ChatGPT, lalabas na agad, mabilis lang yan sa akin. Kaya yung iba, mas manipiling mag-procrastinate ng mga activity kasi alam nila na
kaya naman
one click lalabas na agad. Kaya yung mga ibang teachers, mas naghihigpit sila sa mga deadlines kasi kapag hinayaan natin yung mga bata na mahaba yung oras nila para gawin yun, ay hindi muna nila gagawin yan. Kasi alam nila na mabilis lang yan tapusin na kapag nagpa-AI sila.
Balikan ang mga kwentong tagumpay na nag-iwan ng marka sa kasaysayan ng sports. Hatid ang natatanging memorabilia ng best of the best. Treasures of the game. Dito lang sa PTV Sports.
Marami kaming natatanggap na reklamo na hindi man lang daw umaabot ang tubig sa kanilang mga gripo. Nakita ko na ang report. Kaya't ginagawa ng luwa ngayon ang mga mabisang hakbang laban sa palpak na serbisyo ng mga water district at kanilang mga joint venture partners. Titiyakin ng luwa na mailalagay na sa ayos ang serbisyo ng tubig ng milyong-milyong nating mga kababayan at gawin mas abot kaya naman ang presyo. Higit sa lahat, titiyakin natin mapapanagot ang mga nagpabaya at nagkulang sa mahalagang serbisyong publiko na ito.
On top of being an individual contributor coming from a student to the workplace, you said kanina na there is a misconception depending on the field na AI is being used, no? So, for example, in social media, di ba, marami tayong content creators, di ba?
Right.
So, yung mga content creators, ang daming nagkakalat na pwedeng art na gawa nila or a skit that they made using AI, right? And this may or may not confuse or be like a seed of misinformation to people. So, paano ba madedetermine ng viewer, or ako, this audience ako, paano ko madedetermine na this is AI and this is the reality? Because it's now being blurred by what
Confusing.
AI can do. Paano nyo yun, kumbaga, ini-inform yung mga estudyante, lalo na misinformation is abound?
That is, nung nabasa ko actually yung question, it's scary. Actually, don't know how to answer the question kasi there are also times kahit tayo that we're talking about information literacy now.
Yeah.
Parang you should be able to decipher which is true and which is fake. Back then, madali because fake news, if it's defamatory, if these statements are not jiving with each other in terms of dates, you should be able to identify. But when you're watching a video that is AI generated, ngayon, lalo ngayon, I have seen AI generated content that is much
Believable?
Mukhang totoo.
And hindi lang siya believable, much more sophisticated
Right.
than what mga malalaking companies could do in terms of computer generated imagery.
And even 'di ba mga politicians naniniwala sa mga ganun, 'di ba?
Correct,
Like
correct.
kapag kasi 'di ba may mga kilala tayong mga other politicians
Talk
na
about it.
minsan politicians and mga businessmen na mga nakikita nila online na talagang pininiwalaan nila yung mga videos na yun even
Right.
though AI generated siya. Like may napanood ako na kung paano ma-spot yung AI kapag ano siya, titignan natin yung characters.
Okay.
Sa characters na yon, titignan natin yung mata. kapag yung mata nagbabago-bago tapos minsan nagde-deform or what, and even sa kamay, kasi minsan yung kamay ng mga AI nagiging 6, nagiging 7, minsan nagdidikit. Tapos yung sharpness din ng image or ng video. Kasi kapag sobrang naka-HDR siya, tapos kita talaga yung yung parang sobrang
Kita yung pores.
kita yung pores, sobrang pixelated, sobrang ganda ng pagkakagawa. Hindi to the point na hindi na siya realistic. AI yun. And even sa tono ng video. Kasi kapag yung AI, di ba, may certain tune sila na ginagawa na hindi naman ginagawa ng mga totoong tao.
Correct.
Ayun yung mga nalaman kong how to spot AI-generated videos. Na sana makonsider naman nila.
Do you think AI tools can be used to differentiate what's AI from reality?
That is a challenge. Kasi if we're able to produce AI that produces these contents, I believe in the future they will be able to create
Distinguish
AIs
talaga.
it's the same thing that would identify which is AI generated or not. If I may
Ganda
also add
yun.
what he was saying kanina, I've read also that if there's no sense of depth in the video that you're watching,
Okay.
that's definitely AI. However, the problem lang with
Sense of depth? What do you
parang yung
mean?
binanggit niya kanina na
Oo.
parang there are parts in the background that are not blurred.
In terms of
Kasi-
perspective.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's no sense of depth, which elements are in the foreground and then which elements are in the background. However, the problem lang with AI-generated content, kasi kaya nga siya ginagamit ngayon, the same thing with fake news before. Pero ngayon animated lang siya. The goal is manira ng tao. Defamatory statements. The problem lang is, when we watch these contents, mas nauunahan tayo ng what it is about. So I am not quite so sure if we have time to check on the fingers if they're sick.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, I
yeah,
get what
yeah,
you mean.
yeah,
Parang
yeah.
mas focus ka on the story inside
Yes.
the reel or whatever that
If
was.
the strand of hairs, they are
Yeah.
frame by frame, I'm not quite so sure about it. So ang goal talaga natin today is to further, first of all, is to expose the idea that there are content.
That's AI
AI.
generated.
Totoo.
Kasi parang hindi, based from the comment sections of the videos that I've watched, parang hindi pa sila, parang ayaw nilang maniwala. Especially kapag may tao. Sabi nga nila, we also have to talk to the older generation as well na kasi may tao akala nila totoo.
Yeah,
Yes.
totoo.
Kala nila pag cartoons lang or anime or animated stuff. Yun
Yes.
lang.
AI generated, which is scary.
Iba na kasi, di ba?
Kahit sila mismo naniniwala, and even the younger generation din. Sandwich nga, sabi ko nga, yung information literacy ngayon, the digital divide is not only dividing those who have access to digital tools. Now, information literacy, nagkakaroon na rin tayo
Yeah.
kasi the younger generation that is born with AI may not be able to identify which is AI or not. And that's
Right.
also the
Katulad
same
nga
thing
ng
with
game
the older
natin.
generation.
Correct.
Totoo. Pero ngayon, sir, ano ba yung dapat nating gawin para mas maintindihan natin that AI is a thing that we can rely on at para din hindi natin maabuso to sa social media?
What I like about the generation today, may pag-asa ang kabataan. A lot of
Yes.
people would say na parang, naku, abusuin niya ng kabataan. Abusuin niya if it's not properly layout them. Kung paano gagamitin si AI. And that's also quite a challenge to educators as well. Whether it be you're in the industry of IT or not. To be able to integrate IT in the subject.
Curriculum.
In the
Yes.
curriculum as well.
Definitely.
In our case, we have subjects like professional ethics, social issues and professional practices.
Yeah.
Now in college, meron sila ngayon yung living in the IT era. Which is also good kasi even other disciplines, in business, in education, ano na din, i-provide na din what the IT industry could do for you.
Right.
Na parang dati, hindi masyado. Parang feeling natin when we talk about IT, it's only just a tool that you could use.
Correct.
Now, it's really a discipline that you can integrate into your industry and then make much more to what
Correct.
you are expected to do with IT.
Right.
Siguro, parang, Prof Ken, to really close the episode, no? There's no definitive good or bad that comes from
Yeah.
from IT yung sasabihin ko, AI. Because it's a tool and it's a means to an end or to a goal, no? So parang it really depends on the usage. So I think the challenge for Philippine users now is not just to bridge the education gap,
Yes.
not only the technological divide, but now information and kumbaga technological literacy and proficiency. So parang kailangan yung basics ma-solve mo na agad eh. Kasi nag-a-advance na yung education system, nag-a-advance din yung users mo, nag-a-advance din yung mga estudyante. So parang kailangan properly din matrain yung mga teachers. So I think malaking impact sa mga estudyante kung ang mga teachers nila can properly guide them in terms of the guidelines in usage of AI. Siguro, I'm gonna pass it off to you muna, James. Kung
Yes,
may
ako naman
takeaway ka.
siguro yung takeaway ko is kailangan na natin mabuhay kailangan natin mabuhay at harapin ang digital age na to and accept na nasa new normal na talaga tayo.
Right.
Kasi the more na the more na iniiwasan natin ang AI at nagagalit tayo sa mga taong gumagamit ng AI, mas parang nagiging hypocrite tayo sa
Yes.
'di ba? Nagiging hypocrite tayo na parang
For the lack of better term.
diba? Parang okay na. Sige, pwede ka naman gumamit niyan eh. Pero don't rely on it. Kasi you can use AI but at the same time, rely on yourself also. Hindi
In terms of the ideas.
Oo, in terms of ideas and prompting kung ano talaga yung dapat mong gawin. And not totally relying on it. Kasi kapag nag-rely tayo doon, mas nagiging dependent tayo, mas nagiging tamad nga yung mga
Right.
estudyante or what. Pero kung may mga proper guidance sila and kapag skilled and totoong parang may sapat na kaalaman yung mga future educators natin about AI and IT things, 'di ba? Parang mas matuturuan nila yung mga bata kung
Right.
paano gumamit nito.
Right.
And kung paano tanggapin na nandito na tayo sa era na to. And with that, mas matututo tayong makapag-adapt sa new era natin. Kasi eto na, tanggapin na natin.
Correct.
Eto na yung future natin, Hindi na natin to matatanggihan pa. We just have to face it and we should embrace it, di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi kapag niyakap mo yung problema, alam mo kung paano solusyonan
Yayakapin
to.
ka rin nun. Charing, joke lang. No, I'm like, just snip it in the bud, no? So one, I think we should develop more thought leaders now. Prof. Ken, sinabi mo kanina na parang, yung proficiency, hindi na siya sa galing lang ng paggamit. Sa diversity din ng kaya mong gamitin.
Totoo.
And also the quality of the output that you can use, that you can provide using those tools. I think that's what's gonna set the students apart, especially when they graduate. Kasi the proficiency now, hindi lang siya kung ano yung linya sa resume na kaya mong idagdag. So, on top of that, other than just thought leaders, second thing that we should also focus on is in terms of ethics. So, what does it mean now to give a more purposeful work? 'Di ba? If kaya na siyang gawin ng AI ngayon, ano nang ambag mo? 'Di ba? As a student or as an individual contributor. That's something that the viewers should have to ask for themselves. Kasi ang taas ng exposure mo ngayon sa AI, pero you don't even know what's setting you apart from the skills of an AI, 'di ba? So, upskilling is still a thing, but it has to be directed towards what labor forces or what thoughts or ideas
Precisely.
is original to humans. So it could be emotion, it could be creative output, it could be a new process that can be put in place. So the thought should be the idea of the process first, then refinement lang si AI. Dapat ganun yung dinedevelop nating principle sa mga estudyante. And siguro sa education system or sa bansa ngayon, guys, kailangan natin maging adaptive at isipin na hindi lang tayo dapat puro content creators. Yon, sorry just had to say that. Like, we can't just be content creators. Now, you have to think ahead of the game. How can you beat the system? If you yourself who's facing the screen ay kaya ng palitan ng AI,
Correct.
what's your additional contribution, right?
Totoo.
So, we need to have smarter kids nowadays. So, students, mag-aral kayong maigi. Kaya na kayong palitan ng AI. Wag lang tayo puro TikTok at puro Instagram Reels. I'm sorry, I just had to say it, right?
Thank
Right.
you. And yun nabanggit kanina yung EP1.
Oo.
Kasi EP1 kanina ba nabanggit nila, as much as you want to butt in na parang, no, there are going to be entry-level jobs that are going to be replaced by AI.
Correct.
Right.
So, if I'm not mistaken, it's also in the US na parang a lot of their students, if they're not underemployed, they are really unemployed.
Correct.
So most of the tasks that are for entry level, pinapasok na rin nila dun sa junior. So parang I don't think that's going to be the same thing in the Philippines, that you are expecting these new graduates to be able to know these tools and then pay them the same thing.
Correct.
Right.
So it's going to be a partnership between people in the academy and the industry, and then people who are experts in the industry as well. Kasi ngayon, you're not going to pay the person that did that using Photoshop and then that person using AI. And also, if I may add to what you said kanina, when we talk about AI as well, especially in social media, it has to involve everyone.
Correct.
You can't spell, sabi nga namin, you can't spell inclusivity without IT.
Correct.
Right.
Oh, I love that.
Ganun.
Love that. Love that.
You can't spell inclusivity without IT. So, sa family mo lang mismo. Usually, kami yung pamilya ko, pag may nakikita, naku, AI yan. And then, kailangan, kahit masakit sa ulo, you have to make them understand what AI is. Minsan nga, mahirap na rin siya ipaintindi sa bata. Mahirap na rin siya ipaintindi sa matanda. But you have to tell them that it's fake because in the long run, yun na yung magiging new normal natin. So,
Yes.
kailangan, they should be able to decipher which is true or not. Not just based on technicalities, but also in terms of context.
Correct. And with that, we love Prof. Ken. Thank you so much.
Maraming salamat, Prof. Ken.
Yung
Maraming
daldalan
salamat.
namin ngayon, marami kaming napo. At sana kayo rin. And of course, thank you so much to hindi mapapalitan ng AI, BP Studios.
Thank you so much, BP Studios!
Iba yung mga tao na hindi, again, yung sense of depth, hindi yan kaya ng AI. Only people in BP Studios can do that.
Maraming
We love
salamat
BP
po.
Studios.
Thank you po.
Thank you so much. And with that, sa bawat usapin, sa bawat issue, kung meron kayong bawat kwento at bawat tanong, may boses tayong mga kabataan.
Sumali makinig at makiisa dahil ang bawat opinion natin ay mahalaga.
Sabay-sabay nating isigaw sa buong mundo, schoolmates.
May pakialam ka!